Hello, I'm Stan Stolniker with Hub Culture, and we are at the Bermuda Innovation Sprint, a 2-week program focused on fintech, blockchain, AI, and kind of innovation. Joining me now is Alan Bivens from the IBM blockchain team, coming all the way in from the US. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I am doing fantastic.
I hope you're enjoying Bermuda.
I am. It's my first time.
Yeah, good. So you work with IBM Hyperledger, which is the blockchain technology that IBM is spearheading, connected to Linux and some of the other big open technologies that IBM has. Give us an update on what's happening in the world of Hyperledger.
Sure. IBM, kind of as you alluded to, is one of the companies that's contributing to the Hyperledger set of projects. Hyperledger right now is an open source environment where it's running, I think the last count was 10 separate projects, different platforms, different toolings are all part of Hyperledger now. The other aspect of Hyperledger has been growing. The last I looked, there were 270 Hyperledger members, right? And these are
company members?
Companies, academic institutions, basically organizations that are all interested in helping to drive this open standard way of doing blockchain in the future. So I think if you are a company that is interested in blockchain, it pays to make sure that you're focused on open technologies that are built on processes that have open governance, right? Where you can have a say in what's being developed and what will guide that technology. And that's why IBM is so excited about Hyperledger.
I mean, IBM has long been a proponent of open technologies. You guys really helped to bring Linux into the core of really the world in terms of like computer science. Do you see Hyperledger following a similar arc to Linux in terms of its adoption and the way that it's going to be used in different ways? And let's talk for a second also about what makes Hyperledger different in terms of its core structures.
Yeah, I do think that the structure of Hyperledger is going to enable it to have the same type of adoption rate that Linux did. I mean, it's run by the Linux Foundation. It's been one of the...
That helps.
Right? That helps. It's been one of the fastest growing projects run by the Linux Foundation, and it's run several big ones that you would know about. So that's one of the reasons that we're happy about it. We got involved in the very beginning because we felt that the industry needed an enterprise level blockchain platform. And we weren't the only ones, right? I mean, we didn't build this by ourselves. Like I said, we were just a part of the open source Hyperledger movement. We bonded with a few other like-minded companies that agreed. There were certain enterprise level properties that were important to them. So these companies formed the Hyperledger project with the Linux Foundation. And it's been that governance. This is not an IBM process, it's not an IBM project. It is an open project, and it's that governance that makes sure that each company and each organization has a say in what happens next with Hyperledger Fabric and the other projects that have entered. So now you'll see it's not just Fabric anymore. There are projects that are focused on incorporating EVMs into the
What's
mix.
an EVM?
The Ethereum virtual base that can let you use Ethereum smart contracts. There are going to be projects that are focused on interoperability between fabric networks.
That's a big deal.
There are projects that are focused on tooling, right, so that you can create the right developer ecosystem for blockchain development. So, and many of those were contributed by other companies. And this is the way you want to drive such a new technology. You want others participating in a way that brings the innovation from all corners.
What can Hyperledger do today?
What can Hyperledger do? So, I mean, the organization itself is still doing a very good job of bringing together the population, bringing together the community. But each of the projects, if you look at Hyperledger Fabric, it is an enterprise level open source blockchain platform that is in the middle of applications, everything from supply chain applications like the one that's being worked on with IBM and Walmart called Food Trust, where you're basically bringing in data from every part of the supply chain, right, so that you can ensure things like food safety or traceability when it comes to a food recall. To things like finance applications where trade finance, where you're working on reducing the amount of paper and manual processes that are involved in financial transactions. So it's a very versatile platform that could be used for many different use cases.
Wow, amazing. So let's wrap up here and talk for a quick second about IBM and you're running the blockchain strategy. So I'm sure that's wider than Hyperledger as well. What are some of the things that IBM is thinking about in terms of the evolution and the maturity of blockchain in the technology space?
Yes, and that's a good topic. Yeah, while we certainly have a focus and an investment in the Hyperledger fabric realm, it is not the only technology that's out there, right? Our clients are looking at other technologies. We're looking at other technologies. I think that's one of the reasons why interoperability is such a big topic, right? As these networks develop, there needs to be ways that they can talk to each other, right? And they may or may not be using the same platform, right? So that is one of the areas of focus of us going forward and the community going forward too.
Right, great. Well, I know that with our asset Ven and with Ultra and with Hub ID, we're really actually looking, and we are actually now building for Hyperledger. So,
Yes.
I think that's kind of an announcement on our part. We haven't publicly revealed that before, but we are actively building for your and for the open community of Hyperledger. So I think that'll be great to see Ven in that environment. Thank you so much for joining us. Any other thoughts on the future for places like Bermuda with regard to technologies like blockchain?
I think places like Bermuda, where you have the government and the leaders that are so bullish on changing the way the country works and leveraging new technologies, I'm always excited when you see that happen. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here in Bermuda because you have that type of support. So let's wait and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Thank you so much, Alan. I'm Stan Stolniker with Hub Culture. I think we need to get some sun because it is absolutely beautiful here. We'll see you at hubculture.com and hublive.tv for more discussions coming out of the Innovation Sprint. And don't forget to check out bermudasprint.com for access and information on the next sprint coming up somewhere in the world. Thanks a lot. I'm Stan Stolniker with Hub Culture.